War veteran and Army reservist, had paralleled Bill's quest for answers. The two met at a research conference Doyle had been arranging, and soon the two became tight research allies. Doyle would eventually leave the reserve and join Bill in Arizona to conduct full-time research up until Bill's death.
I shudder to think that in the beginning, when I first came public, I may have been misleading somebody along those lines that this whole thing is being brought about by extraterrestrials.
He then realized that the scope of it was not going to be handled by just searching the paranormal. We had to get more into our worldly realm, right here, right now, the politics, the economics. And that's when he shifted more towards government type studies. Maybe the last 8 months or so of his life, at that point, a person could tell if they had watched the happenings and knew the facts, not just the crap that was put in a paper here and there about Bill and the situation here, and had done the research that now it wasn't a matter of if but when for Bill's demise.
It wasn't a matter of if but when for Bill's demise.
The heat escalated to the point where Bill felt it was necessary to protect his wife and children by placing them in hiding for their own safety. It was now Bill and Doyle fighting the federal government on what seemed to be phantom charges.
Dr. Hamlin had been going up and playing real petty little games at night and up right next to Bill's property. This particular night, he had his family up there, and they claimed they were just up there to watch the lightning storms. But the problem was Dr. Hamlin really egged people on. He's a real weasel. And Bill had enough of it and ordered them off the whole area. Just get out of here, I'm calling the cops. Now, if Bill wanted to do harm to him, he would not call the cops, obviously. Bill told me about this the next day, and that was pretty much all that was of it.
Bill told me about this the next day, and that was pretty much all that was of it.
In August of 2001, a local doctor by the name of Scott Hamlin had reported to local Eager police that he had been harassed while parked on Bill's Hill by a man who followed him, pulled out a gun, and threatened him in front of his wife and kids. Even though it could not be proven that it was Bill, law enforcement now had a reason for serving a warrant for his arrest. The first warrant was served on September 11th of 2001, but was postponed. It would not be until November of 2001 when the police would finally make an attempt to raid Cooper. Cooper's broadcasts at this time had already been looking into the federal government's compliance in the events of 9/11.
Bill heard the commotion out here, just the ruckus, because the noise that comes up the road being so rough and stuff. He assumed, I guess, that it was typical high school parties. He came out, got in his truck. His truck was always parked right out in front of the house there, right past the driveway. He would park just in front of the lawn, always normally face that direction. And he whipped around the cul-de-sac, I would have to assume, because that's what always took place. And he then proceeded down this cul-de-sac here. This cul-de-sac here where the truck was parked. It was unmarked. No one was in uniforms. They did not identify themselves. That was it. They said that in their briefings the very next day. They were parked here. They intentionally had this vehicle with an incredibly loud stereo system, and they made a lot of noise themselves and hooting and hollering. Bill came down and told them, this is based on the law enforcement people that told me this, that were involved that night. Bill told them if they didn't leave, he was calling the police, and they shunned him on. So he then turned around to go back to his home up there and call the police. Now, at that point, they were here, and he just basically turned right there, just out on this lot a little bit, and went on back. Right here out of this juniper was a spot. I was told by law enforcement officials that the first deputy came out right at Bill's truck, because he was cruising along slow, watching them more than likely in his rearview mirror, me knowing him very well, to make sure they didn't follow him back over there. He came out, and this is the point where Bill knocked him off sheerly with his arm, not ran over anything. That guy basically just landed on his butt, because Bill hit the gas. So he made this little curve here, and this is where he stopped. At this point, according to law enforcement officials, from their briefing, and then plus people on site right then, when he stopped, one more person approached the vehicle, but not running. And that's when he did the open hands thing, and a sign of, like surrender or whatever. Here's where he hit up on the bank, just trying to avoid the vehicle, but then came shooting up here, full bore, full speed, came ripping up the hill. So they came zooming up here in a vehicle. He's avoiding them. He comes up on this bank. It was testified as that by the law enforcement report, as well as the evidence on his vehicle. That is what I was told by the law enforcement officials that were on site, and ones that had to come up afterwards to get a briefing, so they knew what went on roughly, because public was obviously going to be coming to try to come up here, and news crews and all whatnot. They had put out that Bill is not to be let back in that house alive. It was premeditated. It was put out, Bill will not be allowed back in alive. Transcripts, any of that stuff, all this we still possess. I just have it in safe storage now. This was the studio, the audio and video portions. Watch your step. Back here, just the remnants of cable. All my masters are just down here on the floor. Bills are all preserved in a safe place. All this we still possess. I just have it in safe storage now. How I came upon this site is a unique one. Tasked with having to find a site and not much time, I went to the city of Springerville, and this is one of the few things that worked out smoothly following his death, and at least with all the arrangements.
Ideally, we hope the hour of the time will continue forever, or at least as long as Doyle and I are around, which is going to be a good long time. Good long time. It's going to be a good long time. It's going to be a good long time. It's going to be a good long time. We'd like to take the hour of the time. We'd like to take the hour of the time. We'd like to take the hour of the time.